Okay, we are somewhere 173b. Yeah. You know, yeah, Vim Amar. Meaning it's 15 lines from the bottom. There's two dots. So yesterday we mentioned this idea of an Arev, a guarantor. So the benefit that he gets from being a guarantor, he commits himself to paying. Um, okay. So now the next part of our Mishnah said that if the lender says that I'll collect money from anybody that I want, he can collect from then he can collect from the Arev, from the guarantor. Amar Rabbi Barchan Amar B'Yochanan Lo Shanu Elash Ein Nechasim Lalova Aval Yesh Nechasim Lalova Lo Yiparim Min Arev. This is only true if the borrower does not have any money. If the borrower has money, so then you go to the borrower. Says that, and not to the guarantor. Says the Gemara would the Hadid Midikatani Seifa that another opinion in the Mishnah, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Omer Im Yesh Nechasim Lalova Lo Yiparim Min Arev. If you have property, if the lova has property, then you don't collect from the guarantor. That would sound like Michlal implied. The first opinion holds the Tanakama Savar Lo Shna Hachi Lo Shna Hachi. Since the second opinion of the Mishnah says if he has money, then you don't go to the guarantor. It would imply that the first opinion held, no matter what, you'll never go to the guarantor. So what is the Gemara saying? When do you go to the guarantor and when do you not go to the guarantor? And what are these two opinions arguing about? So we say like this: if the reread the Mishnah and it's missing a few important words. If you lend money with a guarantor, so then lo yiparim min arif. You can't collect from the arif. Okay. Vim amar al menashe from mimisha eretza. And if you say I'll collect from whoever I want, then yiparim min arif. Vague headline statement. Now, Bamed Dvarim Amurim, when do we say this? That's only b'she'ein nechasim lalova. You only collect from the guarantor when the borrower does not have any property. Aval yesh nechasim lalova lo yiparim min arev. Then you will not collect from the arev. You're going to go to the borrower. He's the first person that you will collect from. Okay. Now we had yesterday. We'll see more about it very soon. There's really two kinds of guarantors. There's one kind of guarantor that's simple, this guy lends money and I will guarantee that if you can't pay back, I'll pay back for you. And there's a kablan, like a higher level of guarantor. He actually is the driving force behind the loan. Give him money, I'll take care of it. So the kablan, afal pisha yesh nechasim lova, even though the borrower has money, so then yipare min hakablan. Then you can collect from the kablan. The way the Rashbam seems to understand it, it's if you have a guy who's the driving force behind the loan, give him money, I'll take care of it. Basically, the guy, he's taking full responsibility to pay back the money. So it's almost like the guarantor's force is lending the money. Right? He's taking the full responsibility. So a kablan, even though the lova has nechasim, but the malva can collect from the kablan. The malva can collect from the kablan. So, yeah. Next page. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Omer, im yesh nechasim lilova. If then Rabbi Shimon adds on that last statement, im yesh nechasim lilova, echad zeh ve'echad zeh lo yipari mehen. So Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says that if the lova has property, whether you're an arev, whether you're a kablan, you always collect from the lova. So at the end of the day, the argument in the Mishnah between the first opinion, the Tanakama, and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is, according to the Tanakama, sometimes you will collect from the borrower, sometimes you will collect from the Ari. According to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, if the borrower has money, he'll never collect, at least first. You'll never collect from the guarantor. You always go to Lova first. Tanakam argued, he said it depends when. It depends what he says, it depends who he is. According to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, that's the rule. Whether you're an Arev, whether you're a Kabbalah, you're always going to go to Lova first if he has property. So now, what happens when you have Rabbi Shimon Gamliel in the Mishnah? The halacha is yeah like him, it's not like him. Let's see. Amar Rabbi Bar Chana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Kol Makom Sheshana Rabbi Shimon Gamliel b'Mishnah Seinu, halacha kamoso. Interesting. Whenever you find Rabbi Shimon Gamliel in the Mishnah, halacha accords with him, goes like him, except for 3 places. Chutz mi Arev, that's our case, one of the 3 places. Here the halacha is not like him, and you can go to the guarantor if the borrower has money. You can still, in some cases, go to the guarantor. If you're a Kabbalah, the higher level guarantor, then you can go to the guarantor to collect, even if the Lova has money. Then there's 2 other cases, Vitzidan, so some case in Gittin, it happened in a town called Tzidon, where there the halacha is also not like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, Viraya Achrona, and coming up in about a month and a little bit in Sanhedrin, there's a case where different people brought witnesses for a certain case. There also the halacha is not like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Everywhere else you find him in the Mishnah, the halacha is like him. Because if you're doing Mishnah Yomi and you see him, now you know. So, Amar Rav Huna. Rav Huna says, Hilveyu va'ani arev. Lend it to him, and I'll be your guarantor. Hilveyu va'ani poreya. Lend to him, and I will pay back. Hilveyu va'ani chayiv. Lend to him, and I'm obligated. Hilveyu va'ani nosein va'ani etan, and I will give the money. Those 4 languages, Kulan, Lashon, Arvasein. Those are all languages of guarantorship, of being a guarantor. All the right, give him money, I'll pay back. Classic case of a guy who's guaranteeing his money. In the event that you can't pay back, I'll pay back. Okay. So now, whether you said you should give him the money or whether you said you should lend him the money, at the end of the day, they're all languages of an Arev. Okay. What about a Kabbalah? So if you say, sorry, not if you say Tainlo, that's coming up right now. If you say Tainlo, give him the money, not lend him the money, but give him the money, va'ani Kabbalah. Tainlo, give him the money, I'll pay back. Tainlo, va'ani chayiv, or Tainlo, va'ani eten, give it to him and I'm obligated to give it to him and I will give. So the telling the guy to give versus the terminology of borrowing is Kulon Lashon Kablanesein. It's a language of Kablanes. It's a higher level of a guarantor. Yeah. Okay, so that is the opinion of Rav Huna. And he makes a split between, lend him money versus give him the money. That's his split. So now, Ibailahu, let's have a question. Hilveyu, you say lend him the money, and then you say Vani Kabbalah, and I'll be a Kabbalah. Or you say, Tainlo, Vani Arev. You say, give him, and I'll be an Arev. So you take the Kabbalah terminology, and you end up saying I'm an Arev, or the Arev terminology, and you end up saying I'm a Kabbalah. Are you an Arev, or are you a Kabbalah? Amar Rav Yitzchak. So Amar Rav Yitzchak, Lashon Arvas, Lashon Kablanos. At the end of the day, if you said you're an Arev, you're an Arev. If you said you're a Kabbalah, you're a Kabbalah. Doesn't matter what you said, Tain or Hilveyu. It's whatever you, identified yourself as. If I'm an Arev, I'm an Arev. I'm a Kabbalah, I'm a Kabbalah. That is the opinion of Rav Yitzchak. Rav Chisda Amar, Kulan Lashon Kablanis Hain. Everything is really always a Lashon of Kablanis. We assume you're a higher level of a guarantor, except for one case. Bar me halveyu, lend to him va'ani Arev. You say lend to him and va'ani Arev, so then you've removed yourself from being a Kabbalah. You are an Arev. But any other case, we assume that you are a Kabbalah. you're taking on a higher level of responsibility for this loan. There's going to be certain cases where we're going to see, like by Ksuba, where if you say you're an Arev, it's not going to obligate you to pay back. We'll see what. But maybe a Kabbalah would. A Kabbalah is really like the driving force behind the whole thing. Just give him. I'll take care of it. You give him. So it's almost like the borrower is being his messenger. Just go take the loan. I'll take care of it. It's almost like he's saying, borrow it for me, for my sake, borrow it. So, okay. So that is Rav Chisda. Rava Amar, Kulon Lashon Arvasein, opposite extreme. Everything is a language of a regular guarantor except for Bar Mi, Tain Lo Vani Nosein. Give him and I'll give. You say give him and I'll give, so then that's a lashon of kablanos. That's already a higher level of being a arev. Rashbam says the halacha is like Rava because he was the last one. He came later, the last in terms of when he lived, and therefore we usually assume that the last person had more information, had more knowledge, had more, not always, but Rava is the basra, halacha is like him. Okay. Amar le Mar bar Meimar the Rav Ashi. Bar Mar Meimar, the son of Meimar, said to Rav Ashi, Hachi Amar Abba. This is what my father, Meimar, said. Tain lo vani nosein. If a guy says, give him, and I'll give, and then I'll pay back, I'll give him. Ein le malva alova klum. The malva has nothing to do with the lova. It's only between him and the guarantor. Says the Gemara, Velohi. Not true. Lo miftar lova minei de malva ad sheyisha veyitin biyad. The malva will never be removed from the lova. They're always going to be connected until ad sheyisha veyitin biyad. Until the guarantor goes and takes the document.
The money takes the money
and gives it to the bar, meaning to pay back. So only basically what he's saying is any kind of agreement is always between the borrower and the lender, unless the guarantor goes and repays the borrower. So, but until that point, any kind of lova malva agreement, even with the guarantor, even saying tain lo, there's always going to be always be connected, and he'll always be able to go to the lova and collect from him. Okay, if he can't pay back, then he will go to the malva. Okay. Now a few stories. So Hahu Dayana, the Achte Lemalva, Lenechase de Lova, Mekame de Litbe Lova. So before the borrower, there's a certain judge that basically Reuben owed Shimon money, and let's say payday came and Shimon and Reuben didn't pay back. So this judge took Shimon down to Reuben's property, said it's yours, before he even went to Reuben. He just put him on his property. So Salke Rav Chanan braided Rav Yeba. He went and he removed the borrower from the property. So why? Because basically, if you have to go to the borrower first, so that maybe he'll pay you cash. You always go to the cash first. If he can't pay you cash, then you go to the real estate. So you can't just put the guy in the real estate. So now, says the Gemara, Amarava man chachim l'ma'aved ki hamilza. Who's such a smart person that acted this way, that removed the guy off the property? Ilav Rav Chanan breder Rav Yeva. If not Rav Chanan breder Rav Yeva, why? Kasaver, he holds nechase de bar inish inun ma'ar ben yaseh. He says that the property of a person is really it's a guarantor to pay back, right? And then the Rashbam brings psukim. Your property is just like a guarantor. Your property is your guarantor, right? That's every deal where you have real estate as your insurance. It's your guarantor. Now, just like a guarantor, you go to the lender, you go to the borrower first before you go to the guarantor. So too in this case, you go to the borrower first to see if he has cash. If he doesn't have cash, then you go to the real estate. So this idea that a person's property is their guarantor was the reasoning why he removed him off the property, because just like a guarantor is the second point of reference, so too the property is the second point of reference. The first place you have to go to is the guy to see if he can pay you off with cash or with movables. If he can't do that, then you can go to his property.
Remove the judge from
Well, no, he removed the
ruling and remove the judge. No. Reverse the judge's ruling, remove the judge from his position.
I understood that. He means he removed it. It means he removed the borrower from the land. Oh, it says it differently.
Yeah. It took the judge. Fired the judge, so to speak. Remove the judge.
The judge wasn't on the land. The judge put the borrower on the land.
His reasoning is that the lender approached the borrower, he might have repaid the loan in cash and thereby avoided the loss of the property, as the Gemara will explain.
It means he retracted the judge's ruling. That's all it means. No?
Reverse the ruling. So
Yeah.
remove judge from succession. That's what they're trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he reversed the ruling, okay, and he removed the judge from his position. Okay, he fired him. Fine, good. So yeah. Now a similar case, and this is gonna begin a whole discussion. So you have orphans. You have orphans who are underage, right? So they're under 13 years old, and their father dies, and now they find out that he actually owes money to people. Now, if the guarantor of that loan, so the father owed somebody money, and there's a guarantor that said, if you can't pay back, I'll pay back for you. Now, what's going to happen? If the guarantor pays back the money, he's coming to the orphans to get repaid. Now, they're not of age to have business dealings with somebody. So that's the topic of the next while. Hahu arva de yasmi. There's a certain guarantor of the orphans. Depare lemilva mekame de lodinu. He went and paid off the lender before notifying the orphans. So now, what's the halacha? Does that work? Does that not work? And now basically he's going to want money, reimbursement from the Yisomim. So now, Amar Papa, Priyas Balchov mitzvah. So first of all, paying back a obligation, paying back a loan is a mitzvah. The Yasmi and orphans are lav b'nei ma'aved mitzvah ninu. They're not of age that they're obligated to do mitzvahs. So therefore, he has to wait until they get older and get the money back. Now, we assume this kind of deal where the guy pays back, the guarantor pays back the lender, is called a milva al peh. It's like an oral loan. It's not written in a document. If it was written in a document, maybe it would be a different story. But this is classified as a milva al peh. It's an oral loan. That means the loan is that the guarantor paid back the lender, and now he wants money back from the orphans. So, since paying back is a mitzvah and they can't do mitzvahs, they're not obligated yet, so therefore he's gonna have to wait to get paid back until they get older. Okay. The Rav Huna Braid Rav Yeshua Amar. Sorry, skip. No. Rav Huna Braid Rav Yeshua Amar Amar Srari Atvise. So the Rashbam adds in really, the Yisomim maybe in this case specifically are able to do mitzvahs. Why? So I don't know if the Rashbam says that. I think they mentioned footnote because we don't want them to. Here's the footnote. Yeah, what's it say? Right. Yeah, they're subject to the mitzvah of paying their debts while they're minors because we don't want a divine punishment for retaining money that doesn't belong to them. So meaning, in this case specifically, we allowed them to enter into this dealing with a person. That's one. So, okay, that's one. So first of all, they could deal with this guy. Special exception to the rule, you could have a financial dispute with the guarantor. However, there's another thing over here. Maybe their father left money for the guarantor. Amar tsroriatase. Sorry means it's like packaged up. Money that's like packaged up, sealed up. Maybe he left the money, and therefore we can't let a guarantor just come collect from the Yisomim, because it could be the father left money specifically for this situation, and therefore he would be taking money, which would be improper. So he also has to wait until they get older. So both reasonings, whether you're a Papa or a Huna, Brady or Shu, you both have to wait till they get older. The question is why? Is it because they're not obligated to do mitzvahs yet, so they can't get involved in any financial dealings with this guy? Or it's because we're worried that maybe the father left some money. He left money for the lender. Maybe the father already left money for the lender, and therefore the guarantor who paid back the loan, so he paid twice. Meaning maybe the father left money for the lender, and the lender got paid back already, and the father never let the orphans know about this, the young kids. So therefore, when the guarantor is going to now on his own go pay back and get money back from the orphans, he'll be taking money improperly. So okay, those are two opinions. Turning the page. Okay. My beinayu, what's the difference between them? Both of them say you have to wait till you're older. So ika beinayu, two practical differences. Kishechayiv moda, if the father admitted that he owes money and he hasn't put any money aside, so then we're not worried about that money was put aside. So according to the second opinion, Rav Huna, then the Arev would be able to go to the Yisomim, the guarantor can go to the orphans and get paid back. Because if the father admitted that he owes money, so therefore we're not worried that he already paid back. However, if they're young kids and they're not bar mitzvah, so according to the first opinion, the Arev could not collect from them. Inami, let's say a funny case, the father was excommunicated and he died in his excommunication. So in that case also, he didn't have a chance to go and pay back and leave any money over. Therefore, according to the first opinion, according to the second opinion, the guarantor could come and collect. And according to the first opinion, they're still not bar mitzvah, so then he still has to wait till they're older. Okay. Hilchasa ki Rav Huna b'reid Rav Yeshua. The halacha is like Rav Huna b'reid Rav Yeshua, that really the orphans, in this case, are old enough to get involved in a business dealing with this guy. However, we're worried that their father left over some money and already paid back the loan. He already paid back the lender, and that's why the Arev has to wait till they get older, till they can bring more proofs and things like that.
This one presupposes no apotropos.
Right, that's interesting. What'd you do with apotropos? That's a good question. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
I was just thinking, how long is the apotropos involved with work?
Mm-hmm. There's a whole Rashi Pamir about let's say the guy had a document. If it'll be different, maybe he talks about it. Yeah, good point. Okay. Continuing. Okay. Now we're going to bring a question on this. The halacha is like Rav Huna b'reid Rav Yeshua, that we're worried that already the father paid back the loan and left money. So now, Meisvei, let's bring an attack. Arev shehaya shtarchov yotze mitachas yado. So an Arev gets hold of the loan document, and the document says that that the lender owes money, that the borrower owes money to the lender. So now, Eino Gova, he can't collect. So we're talking about a case of Yisomim also, and what does this document say? The document says, yeah, he's saying I paid back the lender already, and look, he gave me the document, meaning the original loan document, which is given back once you pay back. The Arev has it. Use that as a proof that I paid back already. If I paid back already, then you have to pay back now. Then you have to pay me. I was your father's guarantor. I went and I paid back. The lender gave me the document saying your father owes the money. I have it right here in my hands. Go pay me. So now, what happened? So he cannot collect. Okay, figure out why not. V'im kasabo hiskabalti mincha. If it says on the document that I received the money from you, then gova, then he could collect. So now, Bishlam Rav Huna Breder of Yeshua, according to Rav Huna Breder of Yeshua, so Mishkachas La Kishechayev Moda. The reason why he is not owed money when he first pulls out the document is because, according to Rav Yeshua, it makes sense. Maybe the father admitted that that he still owes money before he died, and therefore we're not worried about the guy paid back, that the father paid back the money. So according to Rav Yeshua, we have a case where the guarantor would be owed money back. He's going to be owed the money back. In the case the father admitted that he still owed money, we're not worried about that he left money to pay back the malva. Therefore, the Arev went and he paid back, and now his document to prove it, so he should get paid back. So that's very good according to Rav Yeshua, according to Rav Huna, the son of Rav Yeshua. El Rav Papa, what are you going to say? According to Rav Papa, he said you can never collect money from Yisomim until the hit bar mitzvah. In this case, you could collect. So that's a kasha on Rav Papa. So El Rav Papa kasha. Says Rav Papa, no. Shiny Hassam, it's different. Why? Lahachi tarach v'kasav lei hiskabalti. In this case, that the father went out of his way and wrote on the document hiskabalti. So in that case, it's going to be different. Why? Because it's not viewed anymore as an oral loan. Before, everything was talking about an oral loan when the Aria says he paid back. Here you have a document that's written down on the document. The father wrote down, or it's written down in the document, that I received money from you. So that case is already called a milva b'shtar. So, and therefore, a milva b'shtar you collect. What's the difference? The Rashbam adds in one line. It's interesting. If it's an oral law, if it's an oral loan, the Rashbam says, then it's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah to pay back. Once you have a document, it's already a chov. It's an obligation. There's no more. So the Rav Papa's whole rationale was that they're not old enough to do mitzvahs yet. There's a mitzvah to pay back your father's loans. The guy comes with a document that you owe, the father owes you money. So that's interesting. It's no longer considered a mitzvah, so to speak. It's now just an obligation. So it's interesting what exactly the difference is. But that they have to pay back. They have no option. So to trust the Arev that he paid back already, things like that. So that's going to be, you have to wait till they're 13. But if he has a document saying the father owes you money, then nothing doing, then you have to pay back, even if you're under 13. Yeah, it's not a kashan or a papa. Okay. Story time. How arva the obed kochavim the pare the pare the obed kochav. Yeah.
I guess with these minor kids, like that makes sense. You got to pay the loan back. But what we talking about earlier in Bava Batra about like if they're 18 or 16 and they're not too capable to make financial deals.
Correct. Yeah, but that's by selling property, right?
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Yeah. So maybe the apotropos would in this case would have to deal for them. The Gemara in Sanhedrin. At some point, maybe Kiddushin, I don't remember. But yeah, something that says that maybe to have someone go to court for them, But but I think the point is, if he has a document saying they're owed money, and they go to Bezdin can go and take the property. That's an obligation owed to the father, But yeah, it's a good. Where apotropos fits in over here is a good question. I don't know if they're going themselves and dealing with it. I don't know exactly.
Sorry to delay.
Yeah. No, it's good.
About minors and about kids.
Yeah. No, it's good to clarify exactly when they do, when they don't. Okay, fine. Jared's going to sponsor a sefer on dealings of minors in business. So that's all I heard in my ears. Yeah. So, who arva the obed kochavim? There was a guarantor of an idolater of a non-Jew. The pare la obed kochavim. That mekame diletvunu liasme. So you have a guarantor who this non-Jew took out a loan, and this guy said, "I'll pay back your loan. Don't worry." So he went and he paid back before before he went to the to the orphans to pay to collect from them, the guarantor paid back. The guarantor paid back the money. Okay, so now. Okay, fine. So now, Amar Le Rav Mordechai Le Rav Ashi, Hachi Amar Avim Mehagrunya Mishmei de Rava. This is what Avim from the town of Hagrunya said in the name of Rava. Afilu Lamanda Amar Chashin Litzrari. Even according to Rav Huna Breder of Shua, who said, we're always worried that the father left money over to the lender. Hani Mili Yisrael. That's by a Jew. Aval Obik Achavim, by a non-Jew. Kevan de Basar Arva Azil. Sin sounds like in the Persian laws. Back to our Persians. In the Persian laws, they always go after the guarantor. So then, lo chayshinan litzrari. There, we're not worried that the guy left money because they always go to the guarantor first. So we're not worried that maybe the borrower left money for the lender because the lender in the Persian courts always goes to the guarantor first. But he said back to him, Amar Adarabba, is the opposite. Afilu lamand amar lo chayshinan litzrari. According to Rav Papa, who said, we're never worried that he's going to leave over money, that's only Hani Mili Yisrael. That's only by Jews. Ava Obed Kochavim, Kevin the Daininu, Basar Arva, since they always judge and they go to the guarantor, Kevin the Daininu, Basar Arva Azli. So Ilav the At to say Tsari Meikara, like Havi Mekabale. Since the guarantor, they always go to the guarantor. So therefore, if there was never any money put away, originally by the borrower, the guarantor would never commit to be a guarantor. So he's more like a pawn. Like there's already money put away, so only then do they become guarantors. So yeah.
Like a bank.
What?
Like a bank. I'll only lend you money if you don't need it.
Correct. Yeah. So now, v'chein haya Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Omer. So we had this interesting halacha that according to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, someone who is a guarantor for a ksuba, when the husband divorces his wife, he has to make a neder. He has to make a vow that she can't get any benefit from him because we're worried that the husband can't pay back. What's going to happen? He's going to divorce her. The guarantor will pay the ksuba, and they'll get remarried. So now, Moshe bar Atzri, Moshe the son of Atzri, was a guarantor for the ksuba. Another story. Good. He was a guarantor for his daughter-in-law. Basically, he said, if my son cannot pay you back, I will pay back. So now, fine. Havi Rav Huna Bre Surba Merabanan. Hava. His son Rav Huna, who was married to his daughter, his son-in-law Rav Huna, who was married to his daughter, was a young Torah scholar, and v'dechikale milsa, and he was a lot of pressure on him financially. Basically, he had no money. Yeah. So Amar Abaye, he said, I have a good idea. Leicha denazel denas pe'etza. So Abaye said, I have a good etza for you, the Rav Huna. I'm going to give an etza to Rav Huna. He told the father-in-law, I think he told the father-in-law, to go tell your son-in-law, he should do like this. He should divorce your daughter, and then she should go and collect her ksuba from her father, and then I guess he wasn't telling the father-in-law. He was saying, I have advice. So yeah, someone go tell this guy, go divorce your wife, then your father-in-law will pay back the ksuba, and then you remarry her. No problem. Great idea. That's what rabbis are for. No, they give good advice. So Amar Le Rava, what do you mean? Hold on. It's a Mishnah. You can't do that. The Mishnah says you have to take a vow that you can't remarry. Amar Le Abaye. Hold on. Atu called the Megarish, Bebeidina Megarish. You think everyone gets divorced in court? Nah. You take two witnesses and get divorced where no one's watching. And then no one's going to make you make this oath. Only if you're in the court will they make you make this oath. So what happened? At the end of the day, it wasn't going to work anyways. Why? With Sophie Gali Milsa de Cohen, who They found that he was a Kohen can't marry a divorcee. So, Amar Abaye, oh, that's what people say. Han Amri Inshi, Basar Anya, Azlan Yusa. After poor people follows poorness. And he's poor, and it ends up being he was in a poor state anyways because he can't remarry her. So he's stuck. So, yeah. Now, okay, that's the story. So back up for a second. Mi Amar Abaye, how could Abaye say this? So Abaye himself said 50 daf ago that we had a case where a guy's dying. He says, I want money to go to you, and then from you it's going to go to you, right? And the halacha was, according to Rav Shimon ben Gamliel, saying Rav Shimon ben Gamliel was, the first guy could eat up all the money and leave the second guy nothing. And on that, Abaye said, Ezuhu Rasha Amar, who's a cunning Rasha, who's a good trickster, an evil trickster. Zeha Mesi Eitza Limchor B'Nechasim Kir Rav Shimon ben Gamliel. It's one who says, that guy who's, who got property from the guy who's dying, and you're right, I'm going to give you property, and then it's going to go to you. So someone tells, Yaakov tells Reuben, all the property is yours, and after you, I want to go to Shimon. So Reuben could eat up all the property and leave nothing for Shimon. And the Gemara that I said, that's called a cunning Rasha because it works. It's going to be good. And now you left Shimon off with nothing. So this is not good advice. How could Abaye give that advice? This is a trick that would work. So says, and it's against the Mishnah. So says the Gemara, no. Beno shiny, the Surah Merabban shiny. First of all, it's a son, and second of all, it's a Torah scholar. So because of both of those, we're not worried about it. Meaning, a father-in-law would be happy to support his son-in-law, and two, he's supporting it because he's supporting he's supporting a Torah scholar. Okay. So now, says the Gemara, the whole idea of an Arev and a Ksuba. So the Ha'arev who, hold on, he's a guarantor. The Kaimalan, Arev de Ksuba lo mishtabit. And we're not going to see why for a few lines. A Arev for a Ksuba is not bound to pay back. Even though you're a guarantor for the Ksuba, you're not obligated to guarantee the money. We'll see why. It sounds like a funny thing. But Arev de Ksuba lo mishtabit. So we say, okay, but so we're asking on Abaye, even if you get through all this, but he was an Arev, and an Arev is not obligated. It says the Gemara, no, Kablan Have. He was a Kablan. He was a higher level guarantor. Says the Gemara, hold on. I understand, according to the opinion that holds, a Kablan for Ksuba, a higher level guarantor, who says basically, go marry him. Don't worry about the money. I'll pay back. Go do it. Even though the husband has no money, a Kablan is still obligated to pay. But that's up for debate. But there's another opinion out there that says even a Kablan, this higher level guarantor, is only bound to pay back if in this case, in the case of a borrower, only if the borrower has money. In this case, only if the husband has money. But if he has no money to pay back, even a Kablan is not bound to pay back. So back to Abaye, what was your advice? It sounds like you're getting involved in a big machlokas over here. So we're saying, Ibayis Ema, maybe he had money at the time when he was getting married. Mia Havile, the Ishtadov. And then, I don't know, Hurricane Sandy, and then a hurricane came, washed away his money. The Ibayis Ema, that no. Abba Lagabe Bray, Shibudim Mishabed Nafshe. When there's a father, or in this case, the father-in-law is involved, he's the guarantor, he would guarantee to pay even when his son-in-law doesn't have any money. A normal person wouldn't do that. But once you're a father or a father-in-law for your son, so then you would do that. So now, the Itmar. Let's talk about an Arev guaranteeing a Ksuba payment. Arev de Ksuba, an Arev who guarantees he'll pay back money for the Ksuba. Divrei Akol lo mishtabed. Everyone agrees that he's not obligated to pay back. We'll see why in a second. Kablan de Balcho, now, a Kablan for a regular debt, Divrei Akol mishtabed. So we're going to the extremes over here. The lower level guarantor for a Ksuba, never obligated to pay back. A higher level guarantor for a regular loan, always obligated to pay back. Yeah? Okay. So, Kablan de Ksuba. What about a Kablan for a Ksuba? or an arev de balchov, or a regular guarantor for a debt, pligi, machlokas. Mar savar, it depends. If the husband or the borrower has money, then mishtabed. Then the guarantor obligates himself to pay back. But if the husband or the borrower has no money, then the guarantor is not obligated to pay back. Now, that's one opinion. Umar Savar Bain Islay Ben Leslay Mishtabed. He says if you're a kablan, a high-level guarantor for a ksuba, or a regular arev for a regular debt, you're always obligated, even if the borrower or the husband have no money. What's the halacha? Behilchasa arev, an arev ben Islay ben Leslay Mishtabed, except for bar me arev de ksuba. So now we'll see why. In arev, a regular guarantor, whether the borrower has money or doesn't have money, he obligates himself. Remember, an arev is a very novel thing. He never did any transaction. Some kind of benefit he gets from being a guarantor makes him commit with a full heart to pay back money, right? But it's usually you have to do an acquisition to pay back money. So an arev is an interesting thing. So in the case of a ksuba, though, we don't obligate him. Why? The afal gav the islay lebal lo mishtavid. When it comes to a ksuba, a regular guarantor, even if the husband has money, you still do not obligate yourself. Why? My time. Mitzvah hu da'avid v'lav midi chasra. So encouraging the wife to get married. So by a borrower, he's by a borrower. So the lender's losing out money, and now the borrower has to pay back. But by the case of a marriage, first of all, he's involved in a mitzvah, so he just wants him to get married. He just wants him to get married. He doesn't want, he's not trying to be a guarantor and I'm going to look good as Mr. Guarantor. He's just trying to encourage him to get married. Go marry him. So that's one thing. And number two is, and also the woman doesn't lose anything because she wants to get married. Yeah, she's getting back. The Gemara says many places that it's called Tavla Meitav Tandu Milamesav Armala. She'd rather be married and then be alone. The Gemara often brings cases even to a lower quality guy. And but at the end of the day, a woman would rather be married, to that than so he's doing this all for her benefit. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it says mitzvah. Yeah, okay. So fine. There's a discussion. Out there. Is mitzvah considered technically its own mitzvah, or whatever? Just that's interesting. Here it says mitzvah kavod. Okay, fine. So Amar of Huna. So now, totally switching topics. With 1 minute left, maybe we'll stop here.
Good time to stop.
Okay, okay, tomorrow we got. Yeah, we could do it. Right.
Now.
Tomorrow's gonna be
Half and a half.
half and a half. Okay. Half and a half.
You want to start from tomorrow?
Yeah. Just in case. Jules, what about you?